And Minister, I welcome that you set out this very clearly, and you hope to commence the new Act tomorrow, which will replace the 2005 Act. Let me say the 2005 Act was supposed to be a sea change in Garda culture, and it arose for many reasons. And I'm going to come right back to Cancorla in relation to what happened yesterday, because it's absolutely an integral part of openness and accountability and the structures that we're now bringing in. And so 3 structures were brought in: the Ombudsman, GSOC, the Inspectorate and the Authority. They are now being changed around, and I have no difficulty with that, Minister, and I have no difficulty with what you're asking, so that the Act can be commenced tomorrow. My difficulty is in relation to the behaviour yesterday, and let me go back so I can put it in context for the Cancorla. The culture within it's the funding to make the various entities accountable, open and accountable, and to get rid of the culture that led to the Act in 2005 that was never a success, and then the various structures that we're now changing again, because accountability utterly failed. Let me say, not by the ordinary guards on the ground. And I repeat, my introduction to the Dáil was the O'Higgins report, Minister, which I know you read and I read. I read the Morris Tribunal report, I read the Smithick report, and on every single level there was no accountability for the culture of secrecy, protecting the institutions and not human rights or Garda rights. And I was horrified at what happened to Sergeant McCabe, and that was my introduction to the Dáil. And let me say, so we're now looking at these structures, and we're looking at putting them into a new Act, under a new Act that will be commenced tomorrow, to change the culture and to bring in accountability. And what do we find? I was at the protest in Galway yesterday. I couldn't describe a more peaceful, dignified protest. Dignified, peaceful and silent, to highlight the genocide in what's happening in Gaza. Something similar happened in Dublin, and like the other TDs, we have got repeated reports of appalling, disproportionate behaviour by the Gardaí. And I really wish, Minister, as a new Minister, and with your background in law, that you'll comment on this. How can that happen in the 21st century when we're talking about structures to bring in accountability? Strip searching, cavity searching of women who were out peacefully protesting about a genocide. So I'll go back now to this, Cancorla, which I haven't strayed at all from the topic, because they're the topics. And so now, instead of an ombudsman, the GSOC, we're now going to have FISRU. And my colleague here, we were talking about the word FISRU. It's a strange word, because it's just inquire. It's just simply inquire. So I'm not really sure what we do with the Irish language, as opposed to giving it meaning and punch. And the GSOC, many people have criticised it. What I have read repeatedly is the utter failure to fund GSOC. Whatever about it being accountable, the utter failure to fund. And year after year, GSOC produced an annual report, just like SIPO, and told us they were underfunded, under-resourced, and couldn't really do their job properly. So as well as changing the structures, we need to commit to funding properly. And I'll finish on community policing. I, like everyone here, want to see more Garda Síochána. The hint is in the name, Garda Síochána, peaceful guards on our street, so that we can feel safer. And all of the time the language is changing and we see less guards on the street. I actually stop in my tracks or on my bicycle when I see guards to welcome their presence.